Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin took the first self-portrait in space during the Gemini 12 mission in 1966. The image captures his face reflected in the helmet visor, with the curve of Earth and the darkness of space behind him. The achievement symbolizes the advance of human space exploration during the race to the moon. A street in Sweden wakes up in complete chaos on September 3, 1967. The photo captures the exact moment the country switched traffic from the left side to the right, causing gridlock and confusion among drivers. The historic change became known worldwide as H-Day. Alfred Hitchcock enjoyed a relaxed moment with his grandchildren on a sled ride in the snow in 1960. Known worldwide as the master of suspense in film, the director showed a joyful, spontaneous side at home. The image captures the group's excitement in a harsh winter landscape. Several Pan-American van and storage moving trucks fill the planned streets of Lakewood, California, on a day of coordinated deliveries. In 1953, the suburb became a symbol of the post-war American dream, as thousands of young families moved into newly built, standardized homes. A team of International Business Machines technicians handled the logistics of unloading the massive 305 Rimac in September 1956. Able to store only 5 megabytes of data on magnetic disks, the machine weighed more than 2,200 pounds and marked the beginning of the modern digital storage era. Enthusiasts and researchers with cameras and binoculars watched the calm waters of Scotland in 1968. Their constant lookout searched for evidence of the legendary creature said to live in Loch Ness, feeding local folklore and global fascination with cryptozoology. Marilyn Monroe rides a bicycle down a London street after a press conference in 1956. Attached to the bike, a daily sketch newspaper sign carries a message dedicated to the star. The moment captures her relaxed mood in Britain, blending Hollywood glamour with the simplicity of a city ride. Designer Benjamin Bowden presents the Spacelander prototype, known as the Bicycle of the Future, in 1946. With a streamlined design and a fiberglass body, the model aimed to reinvent personal transportation after the war. The look reflects the era's faith in technology and the future. A card player wears an unusual mask designed to hide any facial expression during a game in 1937. The odd accessory aimed to give a competitive edge by preventing opponents from reading emotions or reactions. During a trip through Spain under Francisco Franco's rule, an anonymous Swedish photographer recorded everyday street life in the mid-1950s. The composition shows social and cultural contrasts in a country under strict moral control, where spontaneous gestures highlighted tension with rigid public rules of the time. Nurses walk through trenches dug between the wings of a field hospital in France in 1918. The defensive layout aimed to protect patients and medical teams from shelling during the final phase of the First World War. The image shows the tactical adaptation of healthcare services on the European front. Photographer Margaret Bourke-White balances dangerously atop a New York City skyscraper in 1935. Sitting on a metal eagle, she aims her camera to capture the city from a dizzying viewpoint. The image preserves the boldness of a photojournalism pioneer in the age of towering construction. Pedestrians use a row of chairs to cross flooded areas during a major flood in Paris in 1924. The improvised solution shows the city's resilience in a natural disaster, capturing a moment of cooperation and everyday ingenuity amid the chaos caused by the Seine overflowing at the time. German aviation engineering reached monumental heights with the assembly of massive metal structures in Friedrichshafen. On August 12, 1935, workers were finishing the Hindenburg airship, an aircraft that symbolized the peak of transatlantic air travel before its famous place in history. An unprecedented engineering operation took place at Niagara Falls in 1969, when the flow of water was diverted to allow geological studies of the rocky riverbed. The dry scene revealed a hidden side of nature, exposing sediment and stone that are usually submerged by the power of the current. A horse watches the activity on Mangan Street through a building window in New York City in 1946. The urban scene shows the unusual coexistence of working animals and dense housing in the post-war metropolis. This everyday moment highlights the logistical and social transition of American life. The arrival of Coca-Cola in France in 1950 sparked curiosity and some distrust among locals who were used to wine. The brand's growth became a symbol of American cultural influence after the war, changing habits in traditional cafes and shaping the modern European market. Montenegrin student and resistance member Čedomir Kupić shows a defiant smile in his final moments in 1942. With his hands bound and wearing a dark overcoat, he became a symbol of courage during occupation in the Second World War because of his steady stance in the face of fate. Rapper Tupac Shakur is photographed in the passenger seat of a vehicle in Las Vegas on the night of September 7, 1996. Taken shortly before a serious incident, the image shows him beside Suge Knight. The document became a historic marker in global hip-hop culture. Thousands of Iranian women took to the streets on March 8, 1979, to protest the requirement to wear the Islamic veil. The movement came soon after major political changes and showed women's resistance to new civil rules. The demonstrations in Tehran marked a decisive chapter in modern history. An unemployed worker smiles as he shows a tattoo of his Social Security number during the Great Depression in the United States. The practice appeared among some people after the system was created in 1935, aiming to ensure permanent identification for future benefits in an uncertain time. Brigitte Bardot is photographed during a quiet break in 1958. The French actress cools herself with a hand fan while holding a drink, creating a scene that blends elegance with casual ease. The image reflects the style of the 1950s and her rise as a global icon. Hans Langseth set an astonishing record by growing the world's longest beard, which reached about 17 feet 6 inches. Born in Norway and later living in the United States, he became a famous figure in exhibitions and kept his historic mark until his death in 1927. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes Lyon were nieces of the Queen Mother and spent decades in a specialized institution after being diagnosed with cognitive disabilities. In 1941, an official record incorrectly stated that both were no longer alive, keeping their existence out of public view for many years. Commercial aviation in the 1930s mixed rustic luxury with new ideas in customer service. On May 15, 1930, flight attendants served meals aboard a Boeing Model 80A, where passengers sat in wicker chairs bolted to the floor, showing the start of air travel's golden age. Mary Ann Bevan lived with the effects of acromegaly to support her 4 children after she became a widow. In the early 20th century, she took part in appearance contests and touring shows under the label of the world's ugliest woman. Her story of personal sacrifice reveals the harsh realities faced by families with few resources. Boarding a Fokker-Grulich FII aircraft operated by Lufthansa in 1926 shows the early days of luxury commercial aviation. The attendant's help and the safety warnings at the cabin door highlight how experimental and exclusive air travel was during the Weimar Republic. 6 smiling women take part in a rabbit race on a Los Angeles beach in 1930. Kneeling in the sand, they hold ribbons used as leashes for the animals, creating an unusual entertainment scene from the time. The image reflects California leisure habits in the early 1930s. The Industrial Revolution reached a peak with Henry Ford's moving assembly line. At the Highland Park plant, standardizing the Model T let thousands of workers build cars in record time, turning the automobile into something affordable for people around the world. A race car speeds along a dirt road during the 1912 Grand Prix. A man standing behind a stake fence signals the car's passage, showing how basic racing conditions were at the time. The photo captures the sport's pioneering spirit. The release of the Kodak Brownie camera in 1900 let ordinary people record daily life on their own. By using a mirror to take a self-portrait, the camera's practical design pointed to the start of a new era in personal photography and social behavior. Two cars sit badly damaged after a crash on a tree-lined road in the Netherlands more than a century ago. The scene shows how fragile early automobiles were and how modern safety systems did not yet exist. In the background, cyclists look on at the signs of this new road reality. A crowd of vehicles fills every lane of the Southwest Expressway during its opening in 1964. The aerial photo shows heavy traffic on Chicago's new roadway, later renamed the Stevenson Expressway. The scene reflects expanding highway infrastructure and growing urban traffic in the United States. A man wearing a sharp suit and hat glides on a skateboard along a tree-lined path in Central Park in the 1960s. The sport, still in its early days, was finding its place on New York City streets, blending into the vibrant urban culture and fast-moving lifestyle of the time. The New England fishing vessel appears completely covered in thick layers of ice in British Columbia in 1916. The crew poses on the deck, showing the extreme conditions faced by maritime workers in the early 20th century. Leonard Frank's photograph documents the harsh nature of the Canadian winter. 4 children share a humble meal on December 25, 1936. The Christmas dinner, made up only of potatoes, cabbage, and pie, takes place in a rustic setting during the height of the Great Depression in the United States. The image documents the economic hardship faced by American families at the time. School-age children wait in line to receive a free serving of soup and a slice of bread during the harsh Great Depression. The image captures social vulnerability and community efforts to fight hunger in an era of economic collapse that struck many nations. A makeshift home built from metal advertising signs in Corpus Christi shows the hardship veterans faced after the First World War. In 1938, Russell Lee's photo at Nueces Bay reveals harsh housing conditions and social inequality during the Great Depression. 3 African-American women walk elegantly through the streets of Marshall, Texas in 1899. Wearing refined Victorian-era outfits and decorated hats, they show dignity and social advancement during a time marked by deep segregation and discriminatory rules in the southern United States. Douglas Fairbanks lifted Charlie Chaplin up in front of a crowd on Wall Street in 1918. The event aimed to promote the sale of Liberty bonds to fund the United States war effort. The silent film stars drew thousands to the financial district, showing how popular culture could drive civic engagement. Al Capone took his son to get an autograph from Gabby Hartnett, a Chicago Cubs star, around 1931. The meeting happened during a baseball game, showing how a controversial public figure could appear at popular events of the time. The image captures a rare overlap between sports and notorious personalities from that era. The New York City skyline was changing dramatically around 1970 with the construction of the Twin Towers. The World Trade Center rose as a steel giant of modern engineering, symbolizing global economic power even before its official opening and the full completion of the project. Kurt Cobain appears focused while playing percussion during a music class in 1981. The 8th grade student shares the room with classmates holding trombones and other school band instruments. This rare photo offers a glimpse of the artistic beginnings of a future grunge icon. A young Al Pacino stares into the camera in an official identification photo taken in 1961. At only 21 years old, the future actor went through an incident with local authorities after an encounter. The record shows a turbulent phase before his worldwide success on screen. During the Beatles' first United States tour in 1964, mass hysteria reached unprecedented levels in pop culture. At Los Angeles International Airport, fans looked for any physical connection to the band, even collecting small bits of grass where Ringo Starr had just walked. Excited young women watch an Elvis Presley show at the Philadelphia Arena in 1957. The rock and roll phenomenon was changing youth behavior and sparking intense reactions in venues of the era. The photo captures the collective excitement he created at the height of his cultural influence. Marilyn Monroe appears in a humanitarian photo during her visit to hospitalized service members in Japan in 1954. The Hollywood star paused her honeymoon to support the troops, showing an engaged side of her life story. The gesture of solidarity strongly lifted spirits in the region. Marilyn Monroe enjoys a relaxed moment, dancing in front of a white lattice door in the 1950s. Wearing casual clothes typical of the era, she shows a genuinely happy expression that breaks from the staged poses of Hollywood's major movie studios. Grace Kelly, Princess of Monaco, and her husband, Rainier III, walked down a busy street in Lausanne during a shopping afternoon in 1956. The couple draws the attention of Swiss citizens who gather around with curiosity. The image captures royal elegance in an ordinary moment of public life in Europe. 5-year-old Frida Kahlo poses for an official portrait in 1912. Wearing a detailed white outfit and a bow in her hair, the future Mexican artist looks calm and striking in front of the camera. The photograph reveals the early years of one of the most influential figures in world art. Harriet Tubman sat for this portrait in 1911, shortly before her death, symbolizing a life devoted to freedom. Known as a tireless abolitionist, she led hundreds of people to emancipation. Her steady posture and resilient gaze reflect decades of activism and courage. Seated with a stern, piercing look, John Quincy Adams poses for this daguerreotype in 1843. The sixth President of the United States served from 1825 to 1829 and stood out as a diplomat and lawyer. His political work lasted for decades, shaping the foundations of American diplomacy. Bruce Lee appears in a family photo with his wife Linda and their children Brandon and Shannon in the 1960s. The martial arts master looks calm in a leafy setting, highlighting the private side of his public life. His son Brandon would later follow in his father's footsteps. The Parthenon in Athens endures as one of the greatest landmarks of the ancient world, crossing centuries of history through ruins and restorations. From the 1875 photo to today's preservation work, the marble structure continues to show the grandeur of Greek architecture and its cultural legacy. Excavation of an ancient Greek stadium in the city of Magnesia in present-day Turkey revealed the grandeur of sports structures from antiquity. Once hidden by vegetation and soil, the exposed stone seating shows classical engineering and the importance of games in Greek public life. A horse-drawn wagon crossing the dry trails of Canyon de Chelly in Arizona shows the challenges of travel in the American Southwest. In 1900, Frederick Monson's photograph captured the massive scale of the rock formations, in contrast with the persistence of colonial exploration. Workers search for precious metals during the frantic gold rush in 1898, handling basic tools on rugged ground. Mining in remote regions drew thousands of fortune seekers who faced harsh weather and isolation in pursuit of quick wealth. German engineering in 1936 looked for ways to handle rough terrain with the BMW Schneekrad, an unusual snow machine fitted with tracks. The rugged design adapted a standard motorcycle frame to face European winter conditions, showing the rise of specialized mobility technology. Portland, Oregon, around 1958 showed a growing love for drive-ins, including the TikTok restaurant. The place featured bold roadside architecture using a giant teapot and a clock to draw drivers in, symbolizing car culture in the post-war era. Morning life in Chicago in 1914 included the sound of horseshoes on the streets as the Bowman Dairy Company made deliveries. Horse-drawn wagons carried fresh bottled milk from the countryside straight to homes, keeping a traditional delivery system alive amid urban growth. Postal service changed dramatically during the First World War when women took on roles that had been reserved for men. Wearing adapted uniforms and carrying heavy leather bags, female mail carriers traveled long distances to keep crucial news moving. Medical students attend an anatomy lesson around detailed human models in 1920. The instructor uses a skeleton and a muscle figure to explain the body's complexity to seated students. The image highlights scientific teaching methods in the early 20th century. Traditional clothing and distinctive wooden shoes shaped rural life in the Netherlands in the early 20th century. On March 14, 1904, children wore sturdy outfits made for farm work and protection from damp ground, reflecting cultural endurance and everyday practices of the time. 4 children pose with their tricycles on a Brooklyn sidewalk in the 1930s. The iron frames and winter clothes reflect New York City life during the Great Depression. Their easy presence in the neighborhood highlights community ties in a time of constant social change. A quiet Paris street becomes the stage for children's spontaneous fun in 1934. The photo captures the exact second a boy rings a doorbell while his friends wait to run away. The common prank shows the simple, everyday world of childhood between the wars. A woman walks through the streets of Paris in 1945 carrying a giant baguette and 6 bottles of wine. Branson Decou's photograph captures French resilience and culture just after the end of occupation in the Second World War. The scene reflects Europe's gradual return to everyday normal life. A street vendor of Italian origin sells ice cream to a group of children in London in 1877. The image captures how the frozen treats spread among urban working classes in the 19th century, a time when immigration and new refrigeration methods changed eating habits in Europe's big cities. Crowds packed the sidewalks of New York City amid the fast pace of urban growth in 1939. The constant use of hats reflected strict social manners, turning the streets into a patchwork of felt and straw. Classic cars shared space with pedestrians in a scene of booming commerce. During the oil crisis that began in 1973, fuel shortages radically changed city life and highways across the United States. The lack of gas nearly shut down vehicle traffic, letting people take over the pavement for social recreational activities. Deep ocean technology took a big leap with the articulated suits of the 1930s. The rigid Iron Duke suit let divers work under extreme pressure without the dangers of rapid decompression, changing rescue work and marine engineering for good. Born in the 18th century, Hannah Stilley Gorby became a landmark in the history of visual documentation by posing for a daguerreotype in 1840. The image captures a shift between eras, preserving the face of a woman who lived before modern photography took hold in the world. Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding journey started early in Austria in 1963. At 16 years old, the young athlete entered his first official competition, showing a promising physique that would set new standards for the sport in the decades that followed. A cyclist got ready for a ride in 1897 wearing pants, a look considered bold and practical for the time. As bicycles became popular, women's clothing changed in major ways, allowing more freedom of movement. Wearing that outfit challenged social expectations and expanded women's independence. A young woman washed her feet in a river, surrounded by dense vegetation in 1890, capturing a rare moment of intimacy and simplicity at the end of the 19th century. The image shows the fashion of the time in a rustic setting, contrasting with city formality. The calm scene reflects everyday life in direct contact with nature. 4 women wearing corsets and elegant hats enjoyed a card game in 1890 in the middle of an arid landscape. The photo highlights the contrast between Victorian formal dress and the rough desert setting. The scene reveals moments of leisure and women's social life in remote places. Before becoming a world-famous movie star, a young Robin Williams practiced his physical talent as a mime in Central Park in 1974. The candid photo catches him mid-street performance, using classic makeup and precise gestures to entertain New York City onlookers, long before he became an icon of comedy and drama in Hollywood. A rare family photo preserved since the 1890s reveals everyday life and the look of the late 19th century. The image shows a couple and their young children posing with the solemn expressions typical of the time, highlighting formal clothing and hairstyles that signaled social standing and family customs at the height of the Victorian era. The technology market in the late 1980s featured machines like the Tandy 5000 MC, a milestone in professional computing sold by Radio Shack. With an Intel 80386 processor running at 20 MHz and support for video graphics array graphics, the system cost a fortune, reflecting how expensive digital innovation was at the time. Native peoples of the Great Plains kept cultural traditions and homes such as teepees during a time of intense territorial change. In 1890, these communities and their nomadic way of life faced the push of the frontier and the pressure of new settlements. The Romanesque architecture of the Church of Saint-Lazare d'Avallon in France stands out for the intricate stonework of its carved columns from the 12th century. The knot and leaf details reflect the skill of medieval craftsmen and the aesthetic importance of religious buildings in Burgundy. The dining hall at the Scott and Graff Lumber Company in Minnesota buzzed during the loggers' break time. In 1913, these workers faced exhausting days in the timber industry, and this snapshot of shared moments shows social organization and work routines in the northern United States. Small businesses served as the logistical and social heart of isolated rural areas in Texas during the Great Depression. On June 22, 1937, photographer Dorothea Lange captured a modest wooden building in Findlay that functioned as both a post office and a general store for the community. Workers balance on a huge mass of logs in Glens Falls in 1907. River transport was essential to New York's lumber industry before railroads expanded. The image shows the human effort and operational risk on the Hudson River. A woman demonstrates an innovative portable hand-operated dishwashing machine in 1929. The household device features a circular rack for plates set inside a metal basin and turned by a side crank. The invention aimed to bring practicality to everyday chores. Two children pose wearing traditional wedding clothing in Korea in 1910. The ceremonial hanbok on such young figures reflects specific cultural and social customs on the Korean peninsula in the early 20th century. The document preserves the look and formality of historic marriage traditions. George Davey was only 10 years old when he was sentenced to 1 month in a penal institution in London in 1872. The boy was punished after being accused of taking 2 rabbits. The case shows how strict the Victorian justice system could be toward offenses committed by minors. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.